Ms. Almanza, how do you know that?
He's had a child with my relative. No, it's not.
Oh!
That happened during the time me and her, we had our little timeout.
This DNA test proves that I am Elena's father. I will fight for my full custody rights.
And I will fight you for custody.
There's no way he is getting my daughter.
No, this is our child, not yours.
There's no way that he's getting full custody of my child.
During that time, we were having unprotected sex. I had told him that I wanted another child with him. He's even said that, if a woman says that, they want another child or a child with him, that he feels the need that he has to.
What?
That's not true.
Oh, snap! Mr. Brock kicks off with a bombshell, claiming he's been bankrolling Ms. Almanza's kiddos for the past 5 years, and he's pretty sure they aren't even his. He's hankering for a paternity test and a lie detector test to see if there's been any funny business on her side.
You claim you have been supporting Ms. Almanza's 2 children for the last 5 years and are convinced they are not yours. You have petitioned the court requesting a paternity test to determine if you are the father of the children in question and the one she is currently carrying, as well as a lie detector test to determine if she has been cheating.
Hold on to your popcorn. Ms. Almanza fires back with gusto, sure as sugar that the DNA dance will prove Mr. Brock is indeed daddy-o to her kids. She's also all in for a lie detector rodeo, clear her good name.
Ms. Almanza, you've also petitioned the court for a lie detector test, and you're confident that today's DNA results will prove that Mr. Brock is the father of your children.
Can you believe this twist? Plot thickens as Mr. Brock spills the beans on their rocky romance, hinting at side dalliances and shaky trust from the get-go. You'll want to stay tuned because it only gets spicier from here.
We've been dealing with each other for like 11 years or whatever, but the foundation of our relationship wasn't based on husband, wifey. This was somebody who I was messing with during the time I was basically ending a relationship.
Oh.
Well, basically, she laid up with somebody that was a mutual friend of ours, right? During that time, she ended up pregnant, and
That was because we weren't in an exclusive relationship.
Yikes. Talk about awkward. Ms. Almanza is feeling all kinds of ways about Mr. Brock doubting he's the father, especially with them playing house and another bun in the oven. Brace yourselves. It's about to get bumpier.
Ms. Almanza, how does it make you feel that he's questioning the paternity of all your children?
Well, it disgusts me because we're living together. We've been in a relationship. If I'm having these babies, I'm not having them by myself or with anybody else. He's still the one that's messing around.
You're currently living together.
Yes.
And then there's this doozy. Boom, Mr. Brock drops the gossip grenade that he's also played Papa with a member of Ms. Almanza's family tree. Gird your loins, the drama dial is cranking up to 11.
Ms. Almanza, how do you know that?
He's had a child with my relative. No, it's not.
Oh!
That happened during the time me and her, we had our little timeout.
When my daughter was born, I needed to get assistance for her medical. So I went to, apply for that. And when I did, they asked me who the father was.
As the merry-go-round turns, dive into the emotional roller coaster of Mr. Brock and Ms. Almanza's love saga, swirling with doubts, indiscretions, and makeups. Don't blink now. More revelations are on the way.
Ms. Almanza, what is the state of your relationship?
When it comes to him and me, I try to talk to him. At the same time, when it comes down to family time, things with my children, it's always me doing things. He's never involved. He was involved in my baby shower. He was there. So if he doesn't feel that he's the father, why was he there?
Next up on this wild ride, the court's all ears, waiting for the DNA drumroll that'll clarify who's really who in the kiddo department, including the newest little one still loading. Hang tight, the truth bomb is about to drop.
Now, there are 3 children in question here. 2 children you have currently and 1 unborn child. As it relates to paternity for 5-year-old Victoria Brock, Mr. Brock, you are her father.
Another one bites the dust. Yep, you guessed it, Mr. Brock is also the pops to 2-year-old Giselle. His batting average for paternity just keeps getting better. The next bit is a real jaw-dropper.
As it relates to paternity for 2-year-old Giselle Brock, Mr. Brock, you are the father.
That's what it's a great feeling. That's the understanding. That's what I tell you. It's love and not a feeling. It's an understanding.
Just when you thought it couldn't get crazier, and boom, goes the dynamite. Mr. Brock is the dad to the unborn kid too. Triple play. The next scene, it's a real doozy.
So in regards to paternity for Miss Almanza's unborn child, Mr. Brock, you are the father.
the plot thickens even more. Hold your horses. Now Mr. Brock's strapped to a lie detector, spilling the beans on his wandering ways. Watch how this unfolds. It's a real kicker.
I am ordering that you take this lie detector test. Mr. Brock, I want you to take this test right now. The court needs to take a recess. We will be shortly with the results. So, Jerome, please escort Mr. Brock out of the courtroom and get his lie detector test.
Talk about a twist. Mr. Brock flunks the lie test worse than a cat trying to bark. Lies, lies, lies. As we near the grand finale, things get totally bananas.
Now, the lie detector administrator then asked Mr. Brock, other than the 3 women you admitted to, have you had any type of sexual contact with since you have been in a committed relationship? Mr. Brock, you said no. The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Oh boy, here we go. Miss Young and her daughter storm into court, ready to drop some serious family drama. They're here to prove that Johnny Wallace, Miss Young's late common-law hubby, did not father Miss Patton, as Miss Terrell claims. Miss Young is also chasing down over $12,000 in Social Security benefits he thinks were snagged by Miss Patton under false pretenses. Just wait until you hear what's up next. This is just the warm-up.
You and your daughter are here in court today to prove that your deceased common-law husband, Johnny Wallace, did not cheat on you with Miss Terrell and father her daughter, Miss Patton. You say once the results prove he is not Miss Patton's father, you will sue to recoup all of the Social Security benefits that she wrongfully received after his death, totaling over $12,000.
Fasten your seatbelts, folks. Miss Terrell steps up with a zinger. She admits Wallace was called dad by her daughter, but says she kept her kiddo away from his crazy lifestyle on purpose. She's all in, hoping the DNA test will clear the air and plant her daughter right in the middle of the Wallace family tree. But guess what? There's a twist coming that'll knock your socks off.
Terrell, you say Mr. Wallace never denied your daughter. It was you who chose to separate your daughter from Mr. Wallace's crazy lifestyle. You claim that once the DNA test proves you right, you want your daughter, Miss Patton, to be accepted by the Wallace family.
Hold on to your popcorn. This gets juicy. Miss Young spills the beans about how she first got wind of Miss Patton possibly being another one of Wallace's kids. This bomb dropped only after the Social Security check started rolling in. And yep, Miss Terrell confirms all the whispers. Wallace knew about his other daughter, but had a whole soap opera going on with other ladies too. Stick around. The emotional roller coaster is just getting started.
The jury is still out on that one. I never found out. All I know is that I've known him since I was a teenager. We lived together, and I never knew of Kaisha being his daughter, and still don't till this day. Kids start getting Social Security. I got a letter from Social Security indicating that someone was applying for Kaisha Social Security for her father also.
Grab your tissues. This part's a tearjerker. Miss Patton recounts a rare and rather awkward meetup with Wallace, orchestrated by her grandma. It was a brief chat, with no father-daughter bonding to write home about. Meanwhile, Miss Young's daughter shares her own tale of discovering she might have a sister, leading to a stern family showdown with Wallace denying everything. Oh, the drama. Trust me, it's about to crank up even more.
My grandmother, she said, tell her, just stood there. I'm your daddy. I said, are you? Kind of went back and forth, and he was like, well, I'll talk to you later. I gotta go. Took care of some other stuff around the house, and then he shortly left after that.
And you were still there?
Yes.
That encounter and the way you remember it it's amazing, actually.
All right, let's talk money and mysterious. Court digs into how Miss Patton started pocketing Social Security due after Wallace's departure from this world. Was it legit or not? That's the million-dollar question, given all the family doubts swirling around. This whole segment is a wild ride of identity crises and cash controversies. Keep watching, the big reveal is up next, and it's a doozy.
You ended up being entitled to Social Security benefit after Mr. Wallace's death.
Great-grandmother said that when they called her and asked her, did she know anything about Kaisha and could she be the daughter, she said, I know Kaisha. Johnny said he gave her mother money at one point to get an abortion. I wasn't there, but that's what she said. She told Social Security.
Here comes the moment of truth. Everyone's on edge. The DNA results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court, Miss Patton and Miss Stapleton. You are not related.
Buckle up. Mr. Webb drops a bomb right out of the gate, claiming he woke up from a coma to a world where Ms. Forrest not only had moved on, but was also pregnant. Could the baby be his, or is it her husband's? Drama is just getting started, and it's already soap opera level good.
Mr. Webb, you have been waiting 2 years for this day. You claim the defendant, Mrs. Forrest, left you for dead only to find out once you got out of a coma that she was pregnant and that the baby could be yours or her husband.
Here comes the kicker. Mr. Webb is not just here to find out if he's the daddy. He wants full custody if he is. Ms. Forrest claps back hard, defending her family setup with her husband. Grab your popcorn. Ms. Forrest's reply will have you on the edge of your seat.
My intentions are to fight for full custody rights if she is my daughter.
Well, that's my daughter, and you ain't getting her.
Ms. Forrest, how did you get yourself in this triangle?
My husband got in some trouble, and I ended up meeting Mr. Webb through one of my friends. We hit it off, and then I ended up leaving Mr. Forrest for Mr. Webb.
Just when you thought it couldn't get spicier, Mr. Webb and Ms. Forrest throw down different tales of their past fling. Each has their version of the truth, stirring up a storm of he said, she said. Stay tuned because the plot thickens right after this, and it's juicier than a reality TV show.
It didn't happen like that at first. Yes, we was in love. I was on life support.
That's not how it happened.
I had got a phone call saying that she was pregnant. I heard it from my aunt first, but on my way to Illinois with my dad, she had called me and told me that it was a possibility that Elena was my child.
Accusations are flying left and right. Mr. Webb suspects Ms. Forrest wasn't just working late, something fishy was going on with her missing checks too. It's a mess of missing money, missing minutes. Next revelation is just around the corner, and it's a doozy.
She would get off at 10 o'clock. It would take at least 15 minutes to get home, but she would come in at 11 to 11:30.
It took about 45 minutes to get from where I was working.
So it was missing time and missing money.
Yes,
where
Your Honor.
she was MIA.
From where she worked at, and I know for a fact it took 45 minutes to get from her work
No,
to
Your Honor,
the house.
that's a lie.
Plot twist. Mr. Webb learns about the baby bombshell right after his hospital saga. The timing is suspect, and communication between the ex-lovers is as clear as mud. What's coming next is critical. The timeline showdown that might just solve this baby mystery.
She had called me the day that I got out of the hospital. I was on my way to Illinois. We had a discussion. She said that I may be the father, then again I may not be because she was back with Mr. Forrest.
I was there with her at the doctor's office, so it was the middle of September when she found out.
It was in August whenever she found out that she was pregnant.
No, it was not.
Let's crunch some numbers. Ms. Forrest tries to map out the baby-making timeline, prove her hubby's the real daddy. It's a math problem with more variables than a high school algebra test. But hold on to your calculators. This next part brings the emotional math into the equation.
My daughter was born on May 9th of 2013, and then you take it back 9 months later, that takes it to the week of August 26th through August 31st.
You were sleeping with your...
Just my husband.
The thing about it, Your Honor, is the day that before I went on to life support, we did have sex.
So you saying August 25th, you all were intimate?
Talk about a tearjerker. Mr. Webb spills the beans that he's never even met the little one, thanks to Ms. Forrest's gatekeeping. It's a real heartbreaker. The upcoming custody battle chat, it's going to crank up the drama to 11.
Elena is 2 years old.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you have still not held this baby?
No, Your Honor.
Never one time?
No, Your Honor.
I'm afraid that if he does get to see my daughter, that he can run off with her, and
Because he's
there's
done
nothing I
threatened
can do to get
So
her
you
back.
admit, Ms. Forrest, that you've been blocking Mr. Webb from seeing Elena?
Yes, Your Honor.
And now, for the custody clash. If Mr. Webb is the dad, he's ready to battle it out in court for his child. Emotions are high, the stakes are even. Fasten your seatbelts, because the DNA results are next, and they're going to flip the script.
This DNA test proves that I am Elena's father. I will fight for my
This
full
is my
custody
child,
rights.
and I will fight you for custody.
There's no way he is getting my daughter.
No, this is our child, not yours.
There's no way that he's getting full custody of my child.
Well, whether I
Elena's
am or he is.
Oh, wait. I'm saying, are you convinced you're her biological father?
There's a possibility, yes.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court that her biological father is Mr. Webb.
You wouldn't believe it, but a little kiddo turned this whole situation upside down. Ms. Nielsen explains that her son Caden is pretty much her hero, pulling her into rehab and helping her stay clean. She's here today, dragging Mr. Davis into court to show without a doubt that he's the dad, because Caden deserves his father in his life. Just wait till you hear Mr. Davis's side of the story.
Ms. Nielsen, you say the birth of your 2-year-old son Caden literally saved your life. And to repay him, it is imperative that you make it a point to have his daddy in his life. So you've summoned the defendant, Mr. Davis, to court to prove to him that he is your baby's biological father.
Oh boy, here comes the drama. Mr. Davis is up, and although he tips his hat to Ms. Nielsen for turning her life around, he's pretty sure he's not the daddy. He's even brought what he says is proof that he's not the father. Buckle up, because things are about to get even spicier.
Mr. Davis, you claim it is commendable that Ms. Nielsen has changed her life, but unfortunately, she cannot undo her past. You are 100% certain that you are not her son's father and claim to have physical proof to support your doubt.
Grab your tissues, folks. This part's a tearjerker. Ms. Nielsen gets deep about how Caden literally saved her life by being her reason to kick her bad habits. She's convinced Mr. Davis is the father because they were pretty tight when she got pregnant. And oh boy, Mr. Davis isn't buying it. Watch his eyebrows go up.
I struggled with an addiction for numerous years, and when I found out I was pregnant with Caden, I was able to go into rehab. I still today am clean from the time I was pregnant, so I'll have 3 years clean in September.
That's wonderful. And so this child really did change your life in more ways than one.
He saved my life.
Here's where it gets tricky. Mr. Davis admits they were close, like really close, if you catch my drift. But he thinks the timeline is all wonky. He suspects she was already expecting before they even got together. Stay tuned, the plot thickens, and it's a doozy.
Mr. Davis, do you remember this relationship?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. It was not a relationship. It was just something I was just pursuing. We were just having sex. I was already in a relationship.
Oh, so you were in a relationship, but you were having a sexual relationship with Ms. Nielsen.
Exactly.
But were you using protection?
No.
That is what lands you in paternity court.
Things are heating up. Ms. Nielsen lays it all out, talking about how tough it's been raising Caden, all by her lonesome, because Mr. Davis and others weren't exactly stand-up guys. She talks about Mr. Davis seeing her with other dudes, which doesn't help his case. Next up, the proof is in the paperwork, literally.
It's all about the money and using. We were both had a different lifestyle at that time.
Understood. Did you feel like this sexual relationship with Mr. Davis could turn into something? Did you feel like...
Yeah, honestly, I did. I had feelings for Mr. Davis, and he was well aware of that. He was playing me, obviously, because we said we loved each other. He would tell me
never
things.
told
Yes,
you that.
did.
Okay, check this out. They pull out Kaiden's birth certificate and plot twist. It doesn't list Mr. Davis or even Ms. Nielsen's last names, but another dude's. If you thought things were tangled before, just wait until the next witness steps up.
I have a birth certificate, and he has a last name of H.
This is evidence. This is a birth certificate, you said?
Yes.
This is a copy of Caden's birth certificate. When you look at the last name, you don't see yours.
Exactly.
So you're saying...
Nor hers.
Or hers.
Exactly.
And in comes Mr. Turner, another contender for the title of Dad. He strides in, ready to throw his hat in the ring, convinced he's the biological father because, get this, the kid looks like him and even has his gap-toothed smile. Grab your popcorn, because this family drama is turning into a soap opera.
I moved away, and then I lost contact with my phone's information, so my daughter set up a Facebook page for me, and then when I seen Caden, I looked at him and I said, wow. I said, he really looks like my other son. I believe that he was my child. He looked like me. I got a gap between my teeth, he had a gap between his teeth. Similar, he acts like my children, you know.
Mr. Turner isn't just here for show. He's been around, taking Caden to parks and stuff, acting all fatherly. He thinks there's a good chance he's the dad because of all their past hangouts. But Ms. Nielsen's memory is a bit fuzzy. Classic. What's next? Oh, it's good. You'll see.
Mr. Turner, has she ever told you you are Caden's biological father?
She told me that she had doubts. She said she did not know.
How did she introduce you? This is my mommy's friend? How did she introduce you?
She didn't introduce me as dad. For that reason, I never pushed the issue, because I said before I wanted him to call me dad, I wanted to know if I was his true father.
Big reveal is here, folks. Everyone's on the edge of their seats as the DNA results are read out loud, and bam!
It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Davis.
Miss Ramirez drags her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Jordan, to court because she's totally over his denial about being the dad of their 4-month-old daughter, Mila. She's hoping that the DNA test today will make him man up once and for all.
Ms. Ramirez, you have dragged your ex-boyfriend to court because you are tired of him denying your 4-month-old daughter, Mila, and you're hoping today's results will make him finally step up.
Mr. Jordan is here to throw a curveball with proof that he wasn't even in the same zip code as Miss Ramirez when Mila was conceived. He's all about the alibi today, folks.
Mr. Jordan, you claim to have evidence to prove that you were nowhere near the plaintiff during the time of conception, and therefore you cannot be Mila's biological father.
Here comes the tea. The judge is poking Mr. Jordan, asking if he's dodging daddy duties on purpose. Jordan's not having it and insists he's been dad of the year to their other kids.
Are you avoiding responsibility, Mr. Jordan?
No, Your Honor. I'm just here to prove that Mila's not my baby. She's a liar, like pathological liar. We have 2 other babies together, and I've taken care of Levi and Adrian. Like, I've stepped up, I've changed their diapers. Like, Adrian was here for 7 months, I took care of him. So, like, I do everything for them.
Get ready for a plot twist. Miss Ramirez claims they had a not-so-little rendezvous that led to Mila. According to her, unprotected meetups were on the agenda during his visit.
The week he had came to visit, he was coming down with a friend. During that time, we were having unprotected sex. I had told him that I wanted another child with him. He's even said that, if a woman says that, they want another child or a child with him, that he feels the need that he has to.
What?
That's not true.
Can you believe this guy? Mr. Jordan pulls out a pay stub dated right in the middle of when he's supposed to be off making babies. He claims he was punching the clock in Georgia, not playing house.
I have proof right here that I was in Georgia. I got a pay stub. If I could submit this from.
Yes, I'd like to see that. This is a check for you, Elias Jordan, dated the 22nd of March, 2018. That's the week you say, Ms. Ramirez, he was down there with you.
He had said that he was gonna receive his other check late, so that could be the reason for the date.
No way. There's more. A new witness, Miss Gilliard, steps up and drops a bomb. She claims Miss Ramirez told her someone else might be the daddy.
I knew more certainly when she herself told me. She asked us to stay with the boys and that she's gonna take Mila to go see her dad. She didn't say, oh, this might be the dad. She said, I'm going to take Mila to see her dad. He's gonna give me money for her. He wants to see Mila.
Yikes, grab your popcorn. Now everyone's throwing shade about who did what and who's trying to wreck whose new relationship. Miss Ramirez and Miss Gilliard are not pulling any punches.
She's been trying to do that for a while. I know what she's up to. She's a very emotional, petty female, and you're saying you don't want this to be his baby, and you're telling us that this is a possibility. What female puts a possible father on the last name on a baby? That wouldn't be me.
But Miss Gilliard.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jordan, you are the father.
Get a load of this. Ms. Smith is quizzed about knowing a kiddo named Malachi if he might be related to her. She totally knew the kid existed, but had no clue he could be her. It's like a surprise family reunion without the cake. You'll be shaking your head at what comes next.
So, Ms. Smith, you, all of this time, knew Malachi existed, knew who he was. Your nieces talk about him.
Yes.
But never knew he could potentially be your nephew. Miss Laster make you aware, and how did she go about telling you? Just saying that, this could be your nephew, it really could? And then when you asked her, why would you tell me what's going on?
Wait, check this out. Ms. Smith just dropped a bombshell that she only first met Malachi the day before the court session, after he'd been around for 4 whole years. Talk about an awkward first meeting. Grab your popcorn, because the plot thickens from here.
I didn't even know who Malachi was. Yesterday was the first time I even touched that child.
So yesterday was the first time you ever seen him in person?
Not until yesterday.
In 4 years?
In 4 years. I never knew nothing about him.
Oh, that's precious.
All right, things are getting spicy. The court dives into the tangled web of Ms. Laster's love life, revealing she had multiple partners and Malachi might have been conceived. The judge isn't having any of the vague answers and is poking holes everywhere. This is turning into a real soap opera, and you won't want to miss what's next.
They love me. I've lived with Miss Dolores too, but that was the first time that I actually, met a man that cared for me, had my best interest at heart. It was too much for me. You can only do but so much. It's not many things that you can go through to try to get DNA done for somebody that's deceased. It was even a hard time.
The tension is real. Everyone's on the edge of their seat as the judge is about to spill the beans on the DNA results. This could change everything or nothing at all. It's the moment of truth, folks, and it's juicier than a reality TV finale. You'll want to see the faces when the results drop.
When it comes to 3-year-old Jakari, it has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Dolores Smith and Jakari is 0.00% You are not related.
Oh boy, here it comes. Crowd goes wild, and not in a good way. It's like expecting a plot twist in your favorite series, but you guessed it right from the start. Don't go anywhere. The drama doubles down just ahead.
You're not at all surprised. You just say thank you. Do you know who your child's father is?
Yeah.
Why would you put Miss Smith and her daughter through this drama? But I also was sleeping with Travis. I knew when you disappeared. And then she found you at the Martin Luther King parade, just walking around.
Yeah.
Hold your llamas, folks. Another DNA result hits the fan.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Dolores Smith and Malachi Laster is 0.00%. You are not related. This is a text that says no, and then I'm horny, and then come over.
That is true. I did send those messages.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
But he's a married man.
Hold on.
It actually happened during labor, Your Honor. I was in the hospital sitting across from Kayla as she was pushing this baby out.
I have text messages proof right here of the most recent is Valentine's Day. She went to another man's house.
Because of this game that she and I like to play, that she likes to play.
You 46-year-old married man, Mr. Hartfield. What game are you playing with a 22-year-old girl?
And I received a text from a guy telling me to leave the hospital because that's his baby and he needs to be there.
What?
I am in labor.
Well, that's because you didn't even get me anything and you were just yelling at me. You were treating me like crap and was gonna go to a friend's house.
All right, strap in, folks. Mr. Benning drops a bomb right off the bat, sharing his shaky feels about whether his toddlers, 2-year-old Robin and baby Jermaine Jr., are actually his. He's hoping they are, but thanks to some naughty shenanigans from the defendant, he's got a storm cloud of doubt hanging over him. You'll want to stick around because the drama is just getting started.
Mr. Benning, you recently appeared in couples court and it was confirmed that the defendant cheated on you. This infidelity has caused questions regarding your 2-year-old daughter, Robin, and 6-month-old son, Jermaine Jr.'s paternity. Although you are hopeful that both are your children.
His daughter, Woa. This part's a tearjerker. Mr. Benning gets all mushy, talking about his daughter, Robin, who he reckons is the spitting image of his mom, who passed away when he was just a kid. It's all about family feels and promises, folks. And oh, the next bit? It's a doozy.
First off, Your Honor, my mother passed away when I was 14 years old. She was my best friend. We spent every waking moment together. After she died, it, left me hurt. I always wanted a daughter, and I promised I was going to take care of her and treat her like my mother took care of me.
Oh, that's
so
wonderful.
I've always stuck by with that.
So having a daughter has been so important to you.
I waited.
Hold the phone. Get this. While Ms. Bodine is busy pushing out a baby, Mr. Benning's phone blows up with a text from another dude claiming he's the real daddy. Talk about bad timing. It's a real soap opera scene. And trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next.
It actually happened during labor, Your Honor. I was in the hospital sitting across from Kayla as she was pushing this baby out. And I received a text from a guy telling me to leave the hospital because that's his baby and he needs to be there.
What?
I am in labor, like literally in the hospital. And I received a text telling me that the child that I'm waiting to come isn't mine.
Just when you think it couldn't get more tangled, Ms. Bodine has already done a secret paternity test on the side dude, who's not the dad. Plot twist. The court's all ears, and so should you be because the plot thickens from here.
How do you know this other guy is not the biological father?
Because, Your Honor, I stood up, did the woman and the mother thing I had to do, and got the other guy tested.
Oh. And you submitted those results to the court?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
All right. The probability of paternity between you and this other guy is 0%.
Yes.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Benning, you are not the father.
What the?
All right, grab your popcorn, because here comes the big news drop. The court reveals they have retested Mr. Jackson and are ready to disclose the results. Judge Lake announces that the DNA results have been prepared by DNA Diagnostics, creating a moment of high tension and anticipation in the courtroom. Everyone's on the edge of their seat. What's coming up will definitely raise some eyebrows.
Well, this court has retested Mr. Jackson. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Downing versus Jones, when it comes to 29-year-old Brittany Stark, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Jackson is not the father.
Cue the dramatic entrance music for Mr. Aiken. Mr. Aiken joins the court via video link from his hometown, introducing another potential father into the narrative. He confidently states his belief that he is Brittany's biological father, based on her resemblance to his family and her interactions with them. Buckle up, things are about to get even more tangled.
I do believe that I'm Brittany's biological father. That she came down and visited my mom, she met my other kids, and she resembled everything. I mean, she is me. It was a high school thing, you know, back then it was one of those things when you just meet somebody you like them, and experimental as we was younger, you know, and it's one of those things that happened, and I guess this is the results.
Did someone say curveball? Mr. Downing expresses his surprise and frustration upon learning about Mr. Aiken only a week ago, highlighting the complexity and emotional weight of the case. He is visibly upset about the evolving situation, feeling misled by the lack of transparency from Ms. Jones. The next revelation's just around the corner, and trust me, it's a doozy.
So, Mr. Downing, when did you first hear about Mr. Aiken?
Last week. In a phone conversation with Miss Jones, we were talking. She told me that, well, there may be a third person that, you know, could possibly be her father. And I'm like, wow, third guy? She said it didn't have to go this far. She could have been honest in the beginning and say, hey, look, I don't know who the daddy is, but let's all get together and let's figure this thing out for Brittany's sake.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, nope, the final DNA result.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Aiken, you are not the father.
Wow, wow.
You're not going to believe this. Ms. Davis steps up with a claim that she got knocked up by Mr. Ham after a mere 2 months of knowing him. She's also thrown in a lawsuit for $1,500 for some baby shower gifts she says Mr. Ham swiped from her. Strap in, because this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Ms. Davis, you claim you got pregnant with Mr. Ham's child after knowing him for only 2 months. You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that Mr. Ham is the father of your 1-month-old baby, Jarrell Ham Jr. You're suing him for $1,500 for the cost of the baby shower gifts that you say Mr. Ham took from you.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Mr. Ham is adamant he's not the daddy, pointing fingers at Ms. Davis for playing the field during their fling. He spills the tea on their first meet, which sounds more like a tailgate party than a romantic date, with a crowd and all at their planned quiet spot by the way. Oh, and it only gets juicier from here.
Now, Mr. Ham, you say Ms. Davis was dating 2 other men, and you are certain that you are not the father of her child. How can you be so sure this child is not yours?
I was in my car, just came from getting a haircut. I was looking good in my car. Me and Brittany has the same exact car, just different colors. She was looking pretty, too, I'm not gonna lie. She flagged me down to stop me so we can switch numbers.
Get this, Mr. Ham drops a bombshell about Ms. Davis still being married, on top of juggling a couple of boyfriends. He lays out their casual hookups with a side of skepticism about being the father, given the crowded field. Fasten your seatbelts. The roller coaster's about to drop.
So, if your testimony, Mr. Ham, she had more than one boyfriend.
Yes, she's married too, and she's still technically married now. She's not divorced now, she's still technically married. And she had 2 boyfriends too. So this is why I'm in a point where this can't really be my child, due to the fact she had all these boyfriends, and then at the end of the day, I come to find she's married too. So I don't know what to believe.
Just when you think it couldn't get wilder, Ms. Davis talks about the moment she found out she was pregnant and how she broke the news to Mr. Ham, who seemed cool with it at first. But as the doubts crept in, the support started to crumble. Watch out for what's next. It's a doozy.
I'm at work throwing up sick. Couldn't take it, so I asked my supervisor, can I go to the hospital? I'm thinking I had food poisoning or something, and I was pregnant.
After you found out you were pregnant, how did you tell Mr. Ham?
I called his phone and told him I was pregnant. He was at work. I went to his job, and man was talking about it. He was happy, excited.
So you felt like his reaction was that of excitement? He was gonna be there.
Talk about a clash of titans. The courtroom turns into a battlefield as accusations fly and tensions boil over. Miss Davis details the rocky aftermath of her pregnancy reveal, shedding light on their shaky relationship foundation. And guess what? It's about to escalate even more.
So tell me why you doubt it.
Well, me and her argued. She told in front of my mother and auntie that this was not my child when the child was 4 weeks old.
I never did that.
She told this, and the second time when we was arguing in front of her at her mother's house.
To you out of anger. Out of anger, yes, your idea said that twice.
And then the second time
we argued, he made me mad. I'm like, you know.
All right. And then there was the baby shower showdown. Ms. Davis accuses Mr. Ham of hijacking all the baby goodies, which leads to a heated debate about gift ownership and parental responsibility. The drama intensifies here, folks, and you'll want to see how this pans out.
The baby shower, I did not even want until after the baby was here, until I found out it was mine. She went behind my back and talked to my family after I told her not to.
But at some point, you had a baby shower.
Due to the fact that she talked my family into it.
I
got into it with my family.
Ms. Davis, did you talk?
No, I did not. I didn't even know they wanted me to the baby shower. They begged me to come to the baby shower.
Talk about a plot twist. Judge Lake steps in and rules in favor of Ms. Davis, ordering Mr. Ham to cough up $1,500 or return the stolen baby loot. This ruling underscores underscores that once a gift is given, it's no takesies backsies. Brace yourselves. The DNA results are next, and they're a real game changer.
But to rule in favor of the plaintiff for $1,500 because those gifts belong to, you need to return the gifts, or you need to give her $1,500, which is the value of the gifts because you testified that that was the value, whether or not you're the child's father. The law is the law.
Here comes the bombshell. Mr. Hartfield spills the beans about his fling and straight up denies being the baby daddy. He claims Ms. Streeter was also playing the field, which makes him doubt the kiddo is his. The judge lays out the stakes for Mr. Hartfield's marriage based on today's drama. Brace yourself. It's about to get even juicier.
Mr. Hartfield, you say you made a mistake by having an affair, but you know you are not father of Ms. Streeter's child. You claim that Ms. Streeter was openly sleeping with other men besides you. Today's results will determine whether or not you'll be able to save your marriage.
You're not gonna believe this. Miss Streeter dishes out how she and Mr. Hartfield planned to have a baby together, painting a picture of a cozy future that now looks nothing but messy in hindsight. Their plan contrasts big time with his courtroom denial. Get ready, the next bit is a real kicker.
Mr. Hartfield asked me to have a baby with him. We were dating for about 8 months, a long time. We were in a relationship. He wanted to have a baby. He said he didn't get to raise any of his. We went to the hospital and we got the birth control taken out together.
She tell me a whole lot of lies. That's convincing. I mean, if I didn't know in the belly, I'd be convinced.
What is true?
That's definitely not the truth. We went in together.
Oh snap, the plot thickens. During a fiery exchange, Mr. Hartfield admits he was paying Mrs. Streeter to keep their secret from his wife, showing just how sneaky he's been. The stakes are high and the lies are flying left and right. Up next, watch how this unfolds into even more of a soap opera.
If I'm lying, then how would she have information to call my wife when I was paying her not to tell my wife about the situation?
Our first time having sex, we went
because
down the
I did
street
not
from
pay
his
the
house
rent.
to a hotel.
She called her.
He's lying. He had ended up telling me a relative's name, and I had went on Facebook and found the relative, and I didn't even call her right away because he had told me like them pictures are old. She's professional.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Mr. Hartfield fesses up to sending those racy texts to Ms. Streeter, trying to brush it off as just some weird game they play. It's a big reveal that shows he's still playing field, even in the middle of a legal showdown. Things are about to get even more tangled in the next scene.
This is a text that says no, and then I'm horny, and then come over.
That is true. I did send those messages.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I
But
did.
he's a married man.
Hold on. Because of this game that she and I like to play, that she likes to play. But I'm telling you, that is not true.
You 46-year-old married man, Mr. Hartfield. What game are you playing with a 22-year-old girl?
Did he really just say that? According to Ms. Streeter, Mr. Hartfield was all in when he found out about the pregnancy, showing a side of him that's all about family, or so he made it seem. But in court, he's singing a whole different tune. Keep watching. The surprises just don't stop.
He was excited. He wanted a baby. That was the whole point.
The deal, this is the situation. Dominique deals with so many guys. So she found one that was an older guy, and she thought that I would be, the thing is that she found out, hey, you're dealing with a guy that ain't got no money, so now you wasted your time.
That's not true.
Because you done wasted so much time telling people that he's your baby's father, that now you got to play the role.
Game changer coming through. The story shifts to the birth of the baby, with Ms. Streeter recounting how Mr. Hartfield was there, all excited, yet later he bailed on signing the birth certificate. It's a roller coaster of emotions and legal drama. What happens next will make your jaw drop.
He was there when the baby was born. He was excited, like, you know, that's my baby, that's my boy. I never got to see none of my kids born. I want to be with you. I tried to get him to sign the birth certificate. The reason why he signed it at first, but it was time for the witness to see us. He like, you too anxious about me signing this birth certificate. You know what, miss, take my name off, talking to the witness, be on the birth
So first he signed the birth certificate.
He thought it couldn't get more twisted? Mrs. Streeter drops another bomb. Mr. Hartfield wasn't just juggling her. He had a whole lineup of ladies. This guy's love life is busier than a subway at rush hour, undermining everything he said so far. Wait till you see what's coming. It's a doozy.
He had more girlfriends than he was talking to me. When I first met him, he had a lot of women he talked to.
Of course.
It was so not only was it me, it was other people.
Let the truth come out. That's exactly what I said.
I have my own place. I'm a man. I'm standing on my own 2 feet. I
So,
never had a
Ms.
relationship with
Hartfield,
her.
you felt like he was living with you when he was sleeping with her.
Yes.
And you didn't know about this other place.
I did not know about the other place.
And now, the moment of truth. The judge finally reads the DNA results, and guess what?
Mr. Hartfield, you are the father.
Buckle up, folks. Ms. Holshoe steps up to the plate, claiming she's here to prove that the defendant's father is her biological dad. She's not just throwing darts in the dark. She's got her game face on and is ready to swing. Let's see how this unfolds. It's just getting juicy.
Ms. Holshoe, you claim your mother had an affair with the defendant's father, and today you're in court to prove that he is your biological father.
Here comes the mudslinging. Ms. Howard and her squad tag Ms. Holshoe as a major drama queen, claiming her mom wreaked havoc on their family portrait. It's a zinger that sets the tone for some family feud vibes. Hang tight, the tea is about to spill.
My mother and Mr. Howard both told me that he was my father, and also family members on his side of the family. And also I'm in the obituary as his daughter.
That was a big mistake that her name was put into the obituary. Our father's sister did that.
No.
And did not tell any of us about it. Our father didn't even mention her.
Plot twist alert! Ms. Holshoe drops a bombshell about her terminal cancer and her quest for a family history download. It's serious stuff, but she's here not just for answers, but perhaps for some sibling solidarity too. Watch out for the next clip. It's a doozy.
I had a relationship with Mr. Howard through the years after I found out that he was my father. And the only reason I'm even wanting to know that he is my father is because I've recently learned that I have terminal cancer, and I'd like to have family history. And I also, which I know they don't want to, but I would also like to have some sort of information from them about him.
Whoa, curveball from the old family buddy. He's chiming in to say Ms. Holshoe might not be part of the Howard ensemble after all. It's adding layers to this family mystery pie. What's next? More bombshells guaranteed.
Our father was with us every weekend.
She's just coming in like a big old bulldozer. My maintenance man in my building was my father's childhood friend. He and I had a chat recently, and we chatted for quite some time. I do know that she thinks that she's our sister, so I asked him, and he said no.
You never heard any rumors about your father cheating?
When we got older.
Right.
When we were older.
Teenagers. Right.
Flashback time. Ms. Holshoe reminisces about crashing a family reunion like a surprise guest at a wedding. The confrontation she describes is straight out of a reality TV show, complete with booing and hissing. Strap in, the roller coaster is about to go off the rails.
Ms. Holshoe, did you actually go to the family reunion?
Your Honor, my first husband and I went there. We walked into the pavilion and sat down with DL and started talking to him, and I don't remember which women it was, but chased me out, calling me all these nasty names. They wanted to beat me up.
She's lying.
Oh my God.
I heard this.
Wow.
Moment of truth time.
It has been determined by this court that the probability of half-siblingship between Diana Howard and Misty Lynn Holshoe is 98.1%.
Buckle up, folks. The case of White v. White kicks off with Mrs. White dragging her husband to court to prove he's daddy to 3-year-old Savannah. She's hoping a DNA test will patch things up after a bit of cheating. Oh, and by a bit, I mean a lot. Just wait till you hear what her hubby thinks about all this.
Ms. White, you've opened your case because your last and only way to save your marriage and family is to prove to your husband that he fathered your 3-year-old daughter, Savannah. You admit you've cheated in the past, but hope once the results are revealed, your husband will trust you again.
Here comes the bombshell. Mr. White is throwing contour the oikal tree, throwing around some serious claims about not being the kiddo's bio dad, and is even talking divorce if the test shows he's right. He loves the little tyke, but is fed up with the marital circus. Let's see how deep this rabbit hole goes.
Mr. White, you claim to have physical proof your wife broke her vows, and as much as you love Savannah, you do not believe you're her biological father and are prepared to divorce your wife when the test proves your case.
You're not gonna believe this. Mr. White started getting suspicious after the neighbors spotted an ex-boyfriend visiting his house. Little Facebook stalking, some late-night confrontations later, he's pretty sure he's not just being paranoid. Mrs. White's got some explaining to do, and it's gonna be juicy.
I had the suspicions she was having an ex-boyfriend come over while I was at work, because I had neighbors tell me he was coming over, and then I started doing the snooping on Facebook, seeing where his location was, looking through her phone, and then he showed up, and that's when I knew there was something happening. Why would you call him if we're arguing?
Hold on to your popcorn, because here it comes. Mrs. White admits she started cheating a hot minute after they got hitched. She blames a lack of cuddles and hand-holding, but honestly, it sounds like she's been busier than a one-toothed man in a corn-on-the-cob eating contest. Next up, she tries to win back Mr. Right.
A week after you got married?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. White, have you been cheating?
Yes, but I have like abandonment issues because I was adopted. So know, like, if he's not showing me the love and affection that I need, but I just want him to, like, show me love and affection and be there for me and, like, hold my hand in public and just be there.
Strap in for more drama. Mrs. White wants to turn things around with their anniversary around the corner. She's dead sure her husband is the father and hopes proving it will stop their marriage from imploding. But wait till you see the evidence Mr. White's about to drop.
Yes, our anniversary is in 2 days. I want to make this right so we can better our marriage and just prove that Savannah is his.
You are certain Savannah is your husband's biological child?
Yes, Your Honor. I moved in with them after a month of being together, and then probably 8 months later, I ended up getting pregnant with our first child. We ended up getting married. Everything just happened.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, bam! Mr. White pulls out texts and posts that show Mrs. White hasn't quite been the model wife. These aren't just flirty texts. They're the whole 9 yards of naughtiness. And boy, does it kick off a storm.
I have text messages proof right here of the most recent is Valentine's Day. She went to another man's house while I'm sitting at the house with the kids.
Well, that's because you didn't even get me anything, and you were just yelling at me. You were treating me like crap and was gonna go to a friend's house.
Because you were saying you were going to a park at 9 o'clock at night.
It's about to get real soppy in here. Mr. White spills his guts about how much he loves his kids and the agony of his wife's cheating. It's a soap opera level plot twist, and your heart's gonna break for the guy. But hold up, Mrs. White isn't done shocking us yet.
She aspirates, so when she drinks, she has to have it thickened, or half of it will go into her lungs and she'll get pneumonia. Difficulties than my other children. I just love her, I can't, but she won't let me leave. I've literally tried to physically leave, and she has stood in front of the car to where I couldn't leave, where she says, I'm gonna call the cops and tell them you hit.
What?
Get ready for the grand finale.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. White, you are her father. How you found out Ms. Middlebrooks was pregnant.
She had told me. I didn't really believe her at first.
Boy, just because I let you with her, she's
so I don't have nothing to do with that. And if you can sleep with somebody else, man, then you got low self-esteem.
Ladies, you guys want to hear the case?
With at the time had texted me. He said, Trey's cheating on you, which we call him Trey, but his name is John. Me, I was hurt.
When did it become real?
I pulled up to her house one day and I saw that she had a little bump, so I knew it was real.
Oh!
You don't show at a month or two like that soon.
Let's get some order. Let's get some order.
And so I went to be by myself at the pool area where I was at the time. A guy walked up to me and he's like, well, you look like you need somebody to talk to. Do you want to go to my camper and talk? So...
Buckle up, here we go! The court bells are ringing, and we're off to a fiery start with the case of Portis vs. Middlebrooks. Mr. Portis, alongside his mom, has dragged everyone to court for a DNA test, swearing up and down that he's not the daddy of Ms. Middlebrooks' little one, Ava. They lay out the drama, gearing up everyone for a roller coaster of emotions and paternity puzzles. Strap in, because the sparks are about to fly even brighter.
Mr. Portis, you and your mother have petitioned the court for a DNA test because you are certain you are not the father of the defendant's daughter, Ava. You say your life has been ruined and need today's paternity result to set the record straight.
You won't believe this next bit. Dishing out the deets with some serious frustration, Mr. Portis spills the beans on shelling out child support bucks for a kiddo he's not even sure is his. The air gets thick as Ms. Middlebrooks jumps in, throwing shade about missed court dates and stirring the pot even more. Their bickering reaches new heights, setting the stage for some juicy relationship secrets coming right up.
This started about 2 years ago. I started paying child support $75 for this baby, and I never knew if she was mine or not. We never took a DNA test. We tried to, but it didn't go through.
Don't you have to get a DNA before you can be put on child support?
We went together.
You didn't show up to court twice.
And that's because you had a court date.
And he missed. He missed the court date.
So you were named the father by default.
Yeah.
Yep.
Grab some popcorn as the tea is being spilled. Dive deep into the murky waters of their whirlwind romance. From chit-chats to dating at warp speed, all the way to baby alarms ringing just a few ticks later. Mr. Portis throws a curveball with talks of another dude in the picture, which throws a big fat question mark on the whole situation. The next clip is going to drop more bombshells, so don't wander off.
We started talking first and then eventually started dating. It happened fast.
At what point did you find out you were pregnant?
A few months later.
But when she got pregnant, we stopped talking. So like, after the fact that she got pregnant, she had hit me up and was like, hey, I'm pregnant, be prepared.
We were definitely together. We were definitely together. I called you after I got the text.
No, we weren't, because I found out that she had another boyfriend.
Okay.
Plot twist incoming. Mr. Portis recounts his tale of disbelief when he found out about the bun in the oven. He wasn't buying it until a baby bump made an appearance during a casual drive by her place. The saga of mistrust and missed signals paints a sitcom-worthy scene of romantic blunders. Keep your eyes peeled. The confrontation coming up next is a total circus.
How you found out Ms. Middlebrooks was pregnant?
She had told me. I didn't really believe her at first, honestly.
Why do you think she'd lied?
I don't know.
When did it become real?
I pulled up to her house one day and I saw that she had a little bump, so I knew it was real.
Oh, so wait.
You don't show at a month or two like that soon.
Were you at the birth, Mr. Portis?
No, I was not, Your Honor.
No. Just when you thought it couldn't get any more tangled, enter the ex. Mr. Portis turns the drama dial up to 11. Gossip about the ex-boyfriend also footing the bill for the little one. Double trouble, double confusion, and double the dads? Courtroom turns into a reality show, set with accusations flying and everyone talking over each other. Hold on to your seats, because the DNA reveal up next is a real jaw-dropper.
He was basically saying like, yo, Bryant, Jasmine, does she have you on child support and stuff like that? And I'm like, yeah, she does. She's been having me on child support. He was like, well, that's crazy because I'm taking care of her too. So it's like, he was in her life, like he was there, like holding her and, you know what I'm saying, having a relationship with her.
But you were the one on
child support.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, with bated breath. Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Portis, you are the father. I told you.
Can you believe this? Miss Valdez-Lark kicks off the show by dropping a bombshell. Her wedding plans with Mr. Slater are frozen in time because she needs to find out if he's been playing away games and might have scored a goal, aka fathered his ex's toddler. This is the big issue hanging over today's episode. Stick around because the drama is just heating up.
Fiance Mr. Slater is on hold until you determine today if he cheated on you and fathered his ex's 1-year-old daughter, Harmony. So there's a lot riding on today's results.
No way, did she just say that? Miss Pitts, the ex, comes out swinging with claims that not only is Mr. Slater the daddy, but he's also been trying to rekindle old flames behind his fiance's back. Talk about stirring the pot. This mess gets thicker, and you won't believe what's thrown into the mix next.
Still attempting to have a sexual relationship with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Father, because you have not had sexual contact with Miss Pitts in years.
You've gotta hear this. Miss Valdez-Lark tells us all about the dramatic phone call from their 12-year-old, which threw her for a loop and tipped her off about the pregnancy saga. It's a crucial piece of the puzzle, revealing just how tangled these webs are. The next part, oh, it's juicy, so don't go anywhere.
So once I got the phone to speak with Miss Pitts, she said, I'm not calling you to be messy. I need to speak with you on a matter. Pregnant by Robert. So I'm like,
that's a lie, Your Honor.
Wow, feel that tension? As the audience claps, Miss Valdez-Lark and Miss Pitts hash it out over the fate of the little one, considering even adoption. The stakes are high and emotions are higher. You'll want to see how this emotional roller coaster takes a dive in the next moment.
At the hospital with me. I was supposed to get my daughter up.
Miss Pitts, you were considering adoption.
Yes, ma'am.
And you needed the father to sign off, etc. So you were making this call for that reason.
Yes,
no, ma'am.
She didn't even get him on the phone. She got me. He wasn't there.
Ever seen a guilty-looking silence? That's Mr. Slater for you. All quiet and probably sweating bullets as the ladies dish out the dirt. His silence is louder than words, adding a thick layer of suspense. Keep your eyes peeled, because what happens next is a doozy.
You get this call. Do you believe you're the father?
No.
Why?
Because I haven't had sex with her.
So why would she say, if you haven't had sex with her at all, she's obsessed with you?
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with you.
Did she really go there? Miss Valdez-Lark confronts Mr. Slater head-on about his alleged ongoing side adventures with Miss Pitts, sparking a fiery debate about trust or the total lack of it. It's a pivotal showdown, revealing deep betrayals. Fasten your seatbelts, the turbulence is just starting.
I told her, come and get him and his stuff and get him out. He didn't want to go. I ain't going nowhere with that. You said that you'll be a fool to sit there believe anything she said right now. I like trying to help her out and help him out. It seems like I'm being the fool made up. But guess what? The day gonna determine it all.
Cue the mystery music. The court digs deeper into the Who's the Daddy drama, with Miss Pitts and Mr. Slater throwing conflicting stories around like confetti. This crucial part sheds light on the murky tales being told. What's next is absolutely mind-blowing. You won't want to miss it.
Miss Valdez-Lark, do you know whether or not he's seen the baby in person?
I don't.
You have no idea?
I don't.
You go pick him up?
Yes, ma'am.
From where?
How she pick me up and not be with Sakina?
He's a lie. You can't, she want to believe
She a lie, y'all. You can't believe
I ain't believing nobody right now, y'all. I'm believing only me. Me, myself, and I is all I have to believe in right now today.
Here it comes, folks.
Mr. Slater, you are her father.
Keep on lying.
At the very start of the episode, the judge kicks things off with the case of Austin versus Wallace. Here's where we dive into a wild ride of paternity disputes and relationship drama that's more tangled than last year's Christmas lights.
Ms. Austin, this is your third time here in our courtroom with Mr. Wallace and Ms. Roberts. Previously, you were here because Mr. Wallace questioned the paternity of your other child, but now, today, you say you need to prove to Mr. Wallace that he is the father of your 9-month-old son, Ronell.
Mr. Wallace is throwing shade and doubt about the paternity of Ms. Austin's kid, Ronald, like he's at a suspicion sale with a coupon. He's hoping he's wrong, but guess what? He might just be daddy-o after all.
So that he can begin to step up and be a father. Mr. Wallace, you claim you have multiple reasons to doubt when it comes to whether or not you are the biological father of this child, and hope today is your last visit to this courtroom.
The courtroom explodes into chaos when Mr. Wallace hurls insults, and Jerome, the no-nonsense bailiff, is having none of it. He tells Wallace to cool his jets, which only adds fuel to the fiery drama.
She is a whore. So perfect.
You're not gonna address a woman in this courtroom that way. You better fight yourself. Get out of the courtroom, Mr. Wallace.
I never had anybody to show me how to treat a woman or to be a man, or I just need help on.
And that's why you're here. So last time you were standing on the defendant's side with Ronell.
Ms. Roberts and Ms. Austin decide it's time for a dance-off, but with fists. The judge has to call in the referees as Ms. Roberts is sent packing from the courtroom. Emotions are flying higher than a kite on a windy day.
Boy, just because I let you with her, she's
so I don't have nothing to do with that.
Yes,
if you can sleep with somebody else, man, then you got low
Ladies,
self-esteem.
ladies, you guys want to hear the case?
Let's get some order. Let's get some order.
Ms. Austin rolls out what she thinks are slam dunk proofs of paternity, pointing out everything from chins to tiny toes. Mr. Wallace, however, isn't buying what she's selling, sticking to his guns with doubt.
Like we have certain, you can't just base it all off look.
They have the same chin.
The first piece is
a chin. You look at their feet.
So you say their feet are alike.
Yeah.
But they don't change your mind.
No, ma'am, it's just like you go to a police lineup. They put you in there with other men who look just like you.
And you got picked out of it.
So
he
can't
was
just
just
go
like
off
you.
looks.
The judge steps up to keep Mr. Wallace from storming out, turning the courtroom into a ghost town. She's all about keeping things civil and trying to keep Wallace from making a sequel to his previous courtroom walkout.
You feel agitated?
Yes.
Tell me.
Because of the bull crap performance she put on. Well, I need to walk here and finish it. Come on.
Ronell, don't walk out again. You can stand up here. Do not repeat the same mistake as last time. Stand up here. Mr. Wallace.
You sitting up here, you taking her
Come on.
You ain't even let me get a word in.
Stand up.
Get this, folks! The courtroom drama of Whittier Viva Reed kicks off. Ms. Whittier is totally sure Mr. Reed is the daddy of her 22-month-old munchkin, Lucas, despite the constant bickering and doubt from Mr. Reed. Ms. Whittier lays it all out, hoping to prove Mr. Reed's paternity and glue her family back together. Stick around, it's just heating up.
Ms. Whittier, you say that you are sure Mr. Reed is the father of your 22-month-old son, Lucas, but the defendant's paternity doubts have led to constant fighting and tension in your relationship. You desperately hope to prove he is the father to save your family.
No way. Mr. Reed drops a bombshell. It's medically impossible for him to be Lucas's dad, even though he's bonded with the tyke from day one. Ms. Whittier dreams about a drama-free life if only Mr. Reed would shake off his doubts. We find out a past blowout where Ms. Whittier, out of sheer frustration, questioned Lucas's paternity, sparking this whole mess. Oh, the drama unfolds even more next.
Mr. Reed, you believe it is medically impossible that you are Lucas's father. You say you bonded with him at birth and have taken care of him and loved him, but every time you look at Lucas, you are haunted by the doubts that you are not biological father.
You'll get a kick out of this. Ms. Whittier tells the tale of how Mr. Reed heroically tried to save her other kiddo, kicking off their whirlwind romance. After a brief time apart, they're inseparable, moving in together and surprise, finding out they're expecting. Don't go anywhere. The story dives deeper from here.
So talk to me about the nature of this relationship.
Tried to save my toddler that he thought was drowning. He didn't realize she could swim.
It was a baby, and she was adorable, cute little stubby thing running around the pool in a little swimmer diaper. Jumps in the pool, so I'm laying in the lawn chair, getting my tan on. Laying in the lawn chair, and here she goes. I look up, she jumps in the pool, and I'm right behind her, and I come up looking for her. She's swimming around.
You can't make this stuff up. The plot thickens as an ex-girlfriend starts messing with Mr. Reed's head, and a provocative video from another ex adds fuel to the fire. Amidst the pregnancy, Mr. Reed rekindles an old flame, adding layers of complexity to their soap opera life. The suspense is is building. More juicy details coming up.
When did the plot twist come?
With his ex-girlfriend. The conflict started between me and her. Well, then she starts whispering in his ear, oh, well, what if it's not yours? There was some arguments. An ex of mine decided to be disgusting, send a very vulgar message to my phone. He found it and thought that maybe there was some continuing relationship there.
And then I moved in with my ex.
Hold on to your popcorn. Things take a serious turn. Ms. Whittier faces life-threatening complications during her pregnancy. Through all the chaos, Mr. Reed is right there in the delivery room, active and supportive, but tangled in a legal snafu about the birth certificate due to Ms. Whittier's unresolved marital status. The drama doesn't stop here. It's about to get even wilder.
It just got worse from there until I got sick. I had a blood clot. Put me in the hospital, put me on blood thinners. They said the blood thinners carry a massive risk, neither one of you making it through. And I called him and I said, you need to come home.
I'd never been so scared in my life.
And I told him that I didn't know if Lucas was gonna make it. I didn't know if I was gonna make it.
And so when you got that call, Mr. Reed.
This is a real nail-biter. Baby Lucas battles severe health issues, throwing Mr. Reed's paternity doubts into overdrive since none of these health scares run in his family. Despite a genetics lesson in court, Mr. Reed's doubt clings on, shaken by the kid's conditions, how he doesn't see his family traits in Lucas. But hold your horses. There's a key twist on the horizon.
When Lucas started getting really sick, when he was 2 weeks old, he had his first grand mal seizure. Sometime during that 3-week hospitalization, Joe's like, how does this happen? You know, nobody in my family has seizures. Nobody in my family, any of the feeding issues or the heart issues. I tried telling him, you know, sometimes it can be so far back in your family you don't know it's there.
The big reveal. The DNA results are in. And guess what?
It has been determined by this Mr. Reed. You are the father.
Mr. Fisher is up first, and boy, does he start with a bombshell. He thought he was signing up for fatherhood bliss when he put his name on baby Sophia's birth certificate, but oh, how things have turned. His fiancée, Ms. Doyle, has just tossed a wrench into the works, confessing that he might not be the daddy after all. His world's been flipped upside down, and we're just getting started.
Mr. Fisher, you claim you made the biggest mistake of your life by signing the birth certificate for 2-month-old Sophia. You say your fiancé dropped a bomb on you just 1 month ago and admitted you may not be her father.
Now, Ms. Doyle steps into the confession booth. She admits to stepping out on Mr. Fisher and is crossing her fingers that he's still the father. Mr. Fisher talks about his massive love for both his girl and possibly his girl's baby, despite the mega oopsie. Hold on to your popcorn, folks. The drama level is about to skyrocket.
Ms. Doyle, you admit to making the biggest mistake of your life by cheating on Mr. Fisher, but stand in court hoping and praying he is Sophia's father. Mr. Fisher, you say today's results mean everything to you.
I love Brittany. They're my world, but she lied to me. I hope I am Sophia's father. I love her to death. That's my baby.
Here's Mr. Fisher pouring his heart out. Talk about a tearjerker. He's been riding the dad feelings train, which just got derailed big time by doubt and betrayal. The judge nods along, feeling the weight of this emotional train wreck. Next up, let's see how deep this rabbit hole goes.
Can you tell me what you feel?
Sorrow, pain, everything. It all hurts bad.
Because for the first month of this baby's life, you had no doubt. That brand new feeling of being a dad was just ripped from you.
Right down the middle.
Lean in for this backstory. Mr. Fisher's spilling all the tea about how he fell head over heels for Ms. Doyle. From buddies to lovers, these two had a fairy tale going until the plot twist. With this love story set, what's coming next is sure to add some spice.
How did you fall in love with her?
Well, when me and one of her family members met, we became best friends. Like, we was close like this. He took me around her and I just fell for her. Ever since then, I've loved her. She's beautiful. Her eyes, amazing. Her body, she's gorgeous. And she treats me like a man wanted to be treated. All the way up until this happened.
Cue the dramatic music as Ms. Doyle tells us about a text that threw her for a loop, leading her straight into another man's arms. Talk about a plot twist. This impulsive night of revenge boinking could really stir the paternity pot. Just wait, the Who's Your Daddy mystery deepens in a sec.
I was on vacation with one of his family members in Florida, and another one of his family members that he was with at the time had texted me. He said, Trey's cheating on you, which we call him Trey, but his name is John. Me, I was hurt, and so I went to be by myself at the pool area where I was at the time. A guy walked up to me and he's like, well, you look like you need somebody to talk to. Do you want to go to my camper and talk? So
Mr. Fisher's over the moon finding out he's going to be a dad. Ms. Doyle, not so much. She's got a secret that's eating her up inside. As they navigate this roller coaster, brace yourselves because we're not done with the bumps yet.
The day that I found out she was pregnant, she had threw up like 3 or 4 times because she was feeling sick. We purchased the pregnancy tests, went back to the house. She took them. One had a faint line, and then one had both lines. And I was happy. That was the best day of my life.
Whenever I took the pregnancy test, I knew that I had cheated on him.
The arrival of baby Sophia was supposed to be the happiest day, but oh boy, there's a cloud hanging over it. Mr. Fisher was all in, hands and heart, during the birth, but the shadow of the affair looms large. Fasten your seatbelts, because the emotional turbulence is about to get wild.
When she was giving birth, I held her hand. You know, I felt like I was the dad, which at the time, I was pretty sure I was. But I held her, I kept telling her, push, push, push. I want to see my baby. And afterwards, right there, I held her. I signed the birth certificate and everything. I thought it was my baby. We stayed there for 3 days.
Here's where the plot thickens. The conception timeline is as messy as a soap opera. With the paternity still up in the air, Mr. Fisher's world is spinning, and so are our heads. The envelope's coming up. Will it say dad or dud?
Mr. Fisher, I can see you can barely look at the calendar. You just don't want to even acknowledge it. But I'm sure you've done the mental math yourself.
Yes, Your Honor.
1,000 times.
Every day.
Let me prepare myself either way. Let me just think about, take my next step if I'm not Sophia's biological father.
I haven't really thought about that part yet, honestly.
The big reveal is here, folks. Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Fisher, you are the father.
Can you believe what just popped off? Ms. Walker spills the tea about why today's DNA results are super important to her. She's really feeling the weight of not knowing if her grandson is actually related, all because her son left behind a heap of doubt before his untimely passing. Buckle up, because this emotional roller coaster is just taking off.
Well, Your Honor, my son was tragically murdered. The day of his passing, my son left something behind with me, and that was his doubt. And I am here today to get the doubt taken care of. Her child, her son, I don't know if that's my grandchild or not. And it hurts. So I would love to embrace that child.
Hold up, did you catch that bombshell? Ms. Walker dives into the story about her son Delante's major side eye towards the paternity of Ms. Royale's kiddo. He spotted some shady texts that threw a wrench in the works right around baby making time. And guess what? The plot thickens even more in the next bit.
You don't think there's any reason to doubt?
No, Your Honor. The reason why I say that, I have been completely loyal to him. There's no other person that can say, this may be my child, this is my child. I am 100% sure that this is Delante's son.
I remember one day, to fuel his doubts, they got in an argument. He seen text messages between her and a guy around the time when she conceived. And so he doubted.
All right, get a load of this mess. Delante flips his lid over some texts he finds, throwing the whole "who's your daddy?" question out there. He's questioning everything, while Ms. Royal is on defense mode, trying to explain it's not what it looks like. Stick around, the tea is about to overflow.
I heard the argument. I didn't think nothing of it, so it got louder than usual. So I go in there, I'm like, what's going on? You know, Mom, she's a H, she's this, she's that. She's about 3 months pregnant at this time. I said, well, why you say that, Delante? Because she's heard text messages between her and this guy around the time she got pregnant.
You won't believe this twist. Ms. Royal throws back her own curveball, explaining those suspicious texts were from a guy she calls her brother, not a side piece. Delante's got it all wrong, thinking it's a love affair when it's more like family vibes. Oh, and there's more juicy stuff coming right up.
I let him go through the messages. He called me Shorty. I had no problem with him calling me that because that's not nothing to me. I call this boy my brother. He's an older person.
That's not how you portrayed it to me. They were sexually active.
Ooh. Oh, you felt like he was telling you there's a lot going on that I haven't told you about, but I'm aware of.
That exactly.
Here's where it gets extra spicy. Right after the baby arrives, Delante is all mixed up about whether to ask for a DNA test. He plays it cool in front of the fam to avoid drama, then secretly tells his mom he's not so sure about the baby being his. The next part, it's a doozy.
Did you know that he had gone to his mother and said, I really need a test?
Because I asked him twice. I didn't care about the doubt. He named my child after
So
him.
it's your testimony. The reason why I'm asking him, do you want one? And
you know, why he didn't sign a birth certificate, Your Honor?
He didn't sign it because he didn't have his ID. When we kept telling him he was being irresponsible. That was not my fault.
And bam, there it is.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Monique Walker and Delante Royal is 99.99%. You are related.
Yes!